organizations as like pit vipers. Is that appropriate? It's trial day here in Nashville. Just after the one-year anniversary of the tragic events at the Covenant School, parties will gather here to determine the fate of the Nashville Manifesto.
We have actually obtained the Nashville
conservative commentator who released what he claims are
confirmed that the writings are real.
Is the media not withholding information? The people who are not being human? Isn't the shooter way more vile than the media?
Audrey. Manifesto. If the legacy media wasn't so entrenched, and big tech and conservative media had the balls that they needed to have to fight back, course corrections can't occur anymore because the truth is not only made unavailable, it is banned.
Mr. Leatherwood, any comment at all? Are you being paid at all to be the opposition here?
This is the reason that we do what it is that we do, because you have many people on our side who capitulate and are afraid to fight back.
Well, what we're doing is bringing you the truth. We don't like it. We understand people get hurt, but it's in the public conscience. We must know what's happening here. And unfortunately, there is an apparatus designed to suppress all of this information that the public should know.
If you think that this work is important, look, see the value in chasing down stories like what we are about to present today, stories that you could never know otherwise. Please do consider joining the fight and supporting this work. You join at louderwithcrowder.com/mugclub. You would not have the Nashville Shooters Manifesto if not for the members of Mug Club who support what goes on here. It's a double sip. It's like a double jab. You're just pumping it out there in the face, seeing what you're about, because today is a fun day. Let's bring up the rundown. We have George the Greek in Nashville. He also confronted Mr. Leatherwood, the lawyer who claims to represent all of the families there on behalf of all of... He is Mr. Nashville, I guess you can call him, if not the mayor, and we'll be updating you on the trial there to see if this manifesto is released. This is your work, Mug Club. I don't know if you know this, Trevor Bauer, we've covered that story, the baseball player who was falsely accused of sexual assault. He won that suit. Turns out there are 3 other women, and they have also been lying and committing felonies, but this man has lost his name, his reputation, his career, so hopefully MLB will take note. And a big story going around right now, but some of the information out there isn't fully correct. Migrants who flooded New York City Hall, not the Rockettes, and that's Radio City Music Hall, I think. Yeah. And there was a student who was suspended for using the word illegal alien. It ties into this story, so actually Ginger Snap Lane spoke with the mother of this child. I don't know if you're aware of this, but the issue, and don't be browbeaten into feeling guilty if you think that illegal aliens deserve the same or I could argue lesser treatment than actual American citizens. And by lesser treatment, I mean benefits, right? I mean the Cadillac plans. I mean luxury hotels. So they were there at New York City Hall, of course, tricked by largely white American leftists into demanding more from your taxpayer dollars. And I don't know if you know this, it costs you $150 billion a year, illegal immigration. 150, that's 7.5 walls. So let me ask you this. It's a closed-handed issue for me, and we're going to see this happening quite a bit up until the election. What's the closed-handed issue for you this election cycle? What is the most important issue? In other words, if there's a candidate who's wrong on everything else but right on one thing, what would be that issue for you? What's the deal breaker? Of course, if at any point today you see this while on YouTube, head on over to Rumble. It's a live show, 10 a.m. Eastern. You can watch it here every day. And back in second chair, he's been gone because he had a child. Well, his wife did. Captain Morgan. We don't have the budget for that.
Whoa, that's my girlfriend.
Yeah.
You had a face printed on that. That took planning, Stephen. You didn't just put a face on there and tape it.
If you're worried about the ledger, we took it out of your salary.
Yeah, we had to buy a gross also.
I don't think that's...
Yeah, it's okay. We do it because
we also, the first one didn't have a mouth on it, so we had to get another one.
Yeah,
we had to get a second. There's two of them now.
Yeah,
one
it was
with a mouth.
It was a show doll at that point.
Yeah, we wanted to do right by you.
We want it to be a practical. It needs to have function.
Whatever.
How are you? How's the little one?
That's good.
You good?
I'm really not all that angry other than that.
Yeah. Well, no one said Gerald C was a role model.
I didn't do that to my child.
No. After a few days.
I would hope
Not yet.
Yeah, you never know. You never know.
Why are you crying?
Give it a few nights.
Oh, I forgot. By the way, of course, here today as well. When you hear this, you know him, you love him. You mainly thank him for his service, but you can watch his comedy special, American, on Mug Club, and see his dates at jfirestine.com. But it's a wonderful special. Highly recommend you go watch it. See his live shows. Josh, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Good. Had a great show in Dallas last night.
Yes.
Ran into some old friends, unexpected friends. Guy I went to church with when I was like, I've known him since I was like 5 or something. His dad was a pastor at the church, and
Now he's a drug addict?
no, and he's just living life.
Good.
He's been in Dallas for a few years, and I guess he's been watching Louder with Crowder for a couple years.
That's a better outcome.
And so it was nice to see him. And
Nice.
And you had the guy there went back through his ledger. You said, and he was like, "Hey, yeah, I remember Steven was here in 2007."
yeah, the manager, he's like, I remember when Steve was here in 2007. Opening for Bruce. Yeah. I was like, what? Him and Bruce are friends?
And
That's
Black
crazy.
Boy, 2 eyes. I remember it clear as
yeah.
day. Oh boy, did I eat crap that first day. I went out. It was an entirely black audience, entirely black docket, and me.
Stephen the Canadian Crowder.
Even the Canadian.
Hey, fellas.
Then I just made fun of the fact that I was white and Canadian. It worked.
that'll work. Yeah.
The crowd, meaning they, were racist. All right. Things are getting so bad here for the former vice president. I don't know if you know this. He even forgot where he grew up. That brings us to This Week in Biden.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Thanks to the mayor, excuse me, I was going to talk about the old mayor. My grandfather would tell me when I walked out the door in North Washington Avenue in Scranton. Under my plan, nobody earning less than $400,000 will pay an additional penny. I hope you're all able to make $400,000. I never did. But they're not going to pay an extra penny in federal taxes. That's a promise. Nobody. Not one penny.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Jeez. Okay. I do want to get to just a really rapid fact check because everything there that is intelligible at all is completely wrong. But why has no one else talked about this? It says if you're not making over 400,000, that is to the decimal is exactly what this man makes. Why is no one else? I'm only taxes. Oh, they're only going to go up on people who make more than. What do I make? 400,000 a year? And I think it's so obvious. It's like that. You guys ever see Basic Instinct where the woman kills the guy by tying him up and killing him with an ice pick? And they go, we think Sharon Stone did it. By the way, everyone's seen that, her parts. And then they say, yeah, we think she did it because she wrote in her book about killing a man, tying him up during intimate relations with an ice pick. And they go, well, she wouldn't be so dumb to write it in the book. That'd be too obvious. But that's her alibi. Yeah. That's what this guy, I don't know if he's that smart. And so he just said, no one will see, they'll see this is so obvious that no one will call me on only increasing taxes precisely above what my income is.
Which he said he's never made, by the way. He's like, well, I never made. And then all of his fans, or whatever, I don't know what you call them, his crowd, they all silent.
Silent.
They're like, what?
Captive audience.
They laughed at the first one. They went, what?
Why would you lie about that? We all know what the president makes.
I made more than that. I never made exactly that.
Here's a quick fact check. No, look, when he says no Americans paying more taxes, okay. The hidden tax is inflation and, of course, an awful economy. So Americans need an extra $12,500 approximately per year to maintain the same exact standard of living they had in January 2021. Average incomes, you had Obama, they went up $1,000 in 8 years. Under Donald Trump, $4,000. And under Biden, again, all of these adjusted for inflation, it went to a net negative.
Oh, geez.
$4,200. And 100% of IRS agents said they don't care. As far as his income, he says, I never made that.
Jerks.
You know, the salary's $400,000. In 2017, his first year out of office as vice president, he earned $11.1 million. 2018, $3.7 million just from books and speeches, let alone 10% for the big guy. If you have read the Hunter Biden emails, if you can kind of, shuffle out of the way sexts with his niece and pictures of him smoking drywall. Everything that he just said, stumbled through, is factually inaccurate. All references available at loudwithcredit.com. What a piece of shit.
Also, it does raise taxes on people that make less than $400,000 a year. So I'm just saying
Yes.
I don't really know at this point which one you prefer. Do you prefer the mumble and forgetting where you are and walking off stage, or actually just lying? I think they're actually like, hey, if he just mumbles through this, we're actually better off than if he says like the stuff that he's going to say out loud, because we can't defend it.
Hypothetically,
he mumbles
of course.
with the best of them, though.
Yeah, yes, that's true.
I love how he starts. He starts with the great energy, a great
vigor.
great point. Yeah, great vigor. He's like, "Well, my grandpa used to tell me." Oh shit!
That's like his day. He peaks at 9 a.m.
Comes in strong.
What do you prefer, mumble or directed, passionate Joe Biden? I prefer open casket. Hypothetically,
Come on.
I prefer mumble because then I'm like, he's not intentionally lying to me. He's just old.
He's an idiot.
He's an idiot.
Everybody just laughs at him, though. All the world leaders, I guarantee you right now, are just like, he did it again.
It's just
not everyone laughs as evil as you, Gerald.
Yeah, I don't know. Not everyone does.
I think probably.
They might.
Gosh,
I don't know.
that would make the World Economic Forum, the hair on the back of their neck stand up. Even the kids in their sex dungeons would peer out the closet, go, geez, that's a little severe.
Larry Fink is
a little
shaking
on the
in his
nose.
boots.
All right,
Gerald.
more to get to too as well. By the way, any purchase right now, it enters you to win, right? An armored, was it a plate carrier from Armored Republic at CrowderShop.com.
Get yourself some
CrowderShop.com.
merch.
New York migrants, don't call them illegal aliens, because
Why not?
so since former Vice President Biden has taken office, depending on the numbers you use, we've talked about this, at least 7.2 million illegal immigrants have basically flooded the country. Some numbers have it past 7.5 million. That's more than the population of 36 states, to give you an idea. Now, this is what's happened in New York City, right? These people make demands, and then, of course, you have these leftist leaders who make sure that these demands are met. They bully your elected officials, and really what they're doing is they're bullying them in order to ensure that you, the legal American citizen who pays taxes, likely obeys laws, most of them, that you bear the brunt of it. So this is one of the important, where people want to sell you this idea of being compassionate, of being empathetic. It doesn't take into account that it's not a victimless crime. Do people realize this? Do you realize? Because of course your heart breaks for people. Mm-hmm. Of course they're coming over, they're seeking a better life, and you say, I didn't do anything to be born here in the United States. I don't deserve this. It's by the grace of God that I'm. And by the way, that's where gratitude comes in. Absolutely true. However, it is not a victimless crime for someone to enter this country illegally and benefit from the social services that you provide. And many of you have never benefited from these services. And I think a big reason for it, you know what? And I've realized this, is they do this to take the fight out of you. They do it to take the fight out of you because they want you to feel as though, hey, have a heart. And if you're not simply coming from the position of empathy, if you combine it with logic, if you combine it with a firm grasp of the facts, they want you to feel like you're the bad guy. And if you don't want to be a bad guy because you're a genuinely good person, guess what? You don't want to fight. You don't want to make a stink out of it. They do this to take the fight out of you. And sometimes it does work. Sometimes we decide to be civil at the cost of gusto, at the cost of authenticity, at the cost of actually fighting for what you believe in. And you know what? I think I feel this too in this country right now. But people are afraid. You get bogged down. Donald Trump, the indictments. Let's get rid of who's going, just the electoral college. Let's put that aside for a second. The fact that Donald Trump is winning in the polls. It is 2024 in this country today. This is the single most important issue as it relates to the United States of America, illegal immigration, because if you don't fix it, you don't have a country anymore. You do not have a country anymore. Can you find that fire that you had going into 2016, right after 8 years of Obama? I remember there was a fire. It was lit under the asses of all Americans at that point, no matter how they were voting. Can you find that fire again? Are you going to be browbeaten and guilted into this false sense of civility when you are currently experiencing an invasion in your country, which will force your country to cease to exist in one generation's time? Find the fight in yourself. You guys feel that? Like, find it now. We're at that point. It's not just about the election. It's about the state of this country.
Yeah.
So I'm certainly not going to feel guilty saying, nope. Hey, glad if you are actually fleeing political persecution. Place like Cuba during that period they would arrest you if you played the saxophone, for God's sakes. You were living under communist rule.
That's a bad thing.
You're thinking of the oboe.
My bad.
But people just coming here because they want to benefit from the United States of America, send the money out of this country, and then complain about the free lunch that you provide? What's the virtue in being civil about that? Doesn't mean you hate these people. It means you hate the evil that's taking place in this country. And by the way, allowing people to flood across this border unchecked, committing a disproportionate number of crime, and costing the taxpayers $150 billion. It is morally reprehensible. It is theft. Find the fight in yourself. Let's stop doing the quadrant view well, let's discuss this issue. Hey, they have no business being here. You do. You pay taxes. They don't. Hey, New Yorkers, where's the spine that we hear about in New York all the time? New York, man, people are real. It's the grittiest city. Really? Because you look like a bunch of pussies to me. You're not going to fight for the people the people who sustain your city? I get pissed off about it. So this is going on everywhere. You have it, North Carolina, and then of course even New York City, which brings us to, yesterday. Slew of illegals. Yep, I said illegals. They swarmed New York City Hall in Lower Manhattan. Here's a clip.
Is Mogadishu?
What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing over here?
Future dentists,
Why are
no
you
doubt.
guys in line here?
Look at all these men looking for wives.
What the is going on?
By the way, what do they do? Do these people, and by these people I mean this group that you see in this video, don't care if you want to try and accuse me of being racist because they happen to be black. These are about 1,300 African illegals. Did they first land here and go straight to lids?
Free gift cards.
Nancy Pelosi dresses more African than you do.
There's one at the airport. She does.
New threads. You know what? I'm not seeing someone who can't sustain themselves whatsoever. Maybe those are being provided by the shelter, which these people have been bitching about. That's why they were there. They were bitching about the state of the city's shelters. Just to give you an idea, since last spring, 175,000 illegals have arrived in New York City. And at the same time, 200,000 native New Yorkers escaped the city last year. What's the running of the bull dykes? Now.
Watch out, it's a smelly run.
They won't get very far.
So this is what happened. A bunch of African migrants, they were lured to this meeting by activist groups with the promise of green cards. But you're the evil one. So Councilwoman Alexa Aviles, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, sponsored this hearing, tweeted out, "Today's hearing centers the experiences of black immigrants in New York City and has turned out over 1,000 people. We must uproot the anti-blackness that plagues our systems of care. This work requires dedication, creativity, and a city willing to fund our short, mid, and long-term needs." Translation, more money, please, to all of you contributors while we bitch about how you provide it.
I can't imagine going to a country that I think hates me and then complaining that they hate me.
Yes, exactly.
By the way, these guys are from Guinea, Africa.
Ridiculous.
Guinea, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Forgive me if I'm wrong. There's an entire ocean between us and them. That's a different continent. If they're coming to seek asylum somewhere, they chose to get on a plane and come to New York to complain about the problems. I don't know how they got here. I don't think that's a cheap flight unless, of course, we're footing the bill, which is probably the answer to my own question. But you don't come to New York on that kind of thing and go down there under false pretenses so that they can then say, hey, we had over 1,000 people at the hearing. Most of those people didn't care about the hearing. You were told you were going to get a green card.
Right.
They were lied to get them there. Nobody cared about your stupid hearing.
Yes, exactly. These migrants are being used as tools by the left.
Hey, do you pay taxes if you have a green card? If you have a job, right? You pay taxes, right?
Yeah, you have to if you're on
So
the
I got to
books,
give it to them. At least they thought they're going to go there. They're going to, they're going to assimilate a little bit. They're going to try to be a part of the system. I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not their fault that they're being lied to.
Right, exactly. It's not their fault that they're being lied to. Until you look at some of the complaints where my empathy meter it just goes down
a little bit.
It's the opposite of Street Fighter. When it turbocharges.
Yes,
it's the opposite.
Turbo.
It's turbo limp. It's limp noodle. Street Fighter 2 Super Limp Noodle.
That never made the
number
arcades.
14.
Don't pick Zangief. He's incredibly hard. You have to go 360 around.
It's true, but if you nail it, it's awesome.
I know it is. It's a power move. So this is where we need you to fund it. We need you to fund it. At a certain point, hey, I don't know if you guys remember the concept of money? You guys remember the concept that at a certain point, you run out? No one even considers the fact that there's no money. Do you have an idea the trillions of dollars in debt we are? Like, imagine right now, for scale, if you went to your bank account and you looked at your credit card and you owed a balance of $30 billion. That's about where we are as a country.
Trillion.
No, I know, but I was saying for you, I scaled it down.
Individually?
Yeah, that still would probably be a
lot. Yeah.
At least 100 million, probably be a comparable number. Would you be saying we need to fund short, mid, and long-term luxuries for people who have invaded the country? And also...
sure, a couple more billion. Who cares?
A couple more billion at that point.
Say fuck it at that point.
You become desensitized.
Let's keep digging.
We could just print more money. We've talked about this. Let's solve the problem tomorrow.
And Africans, and I know you're talking about this one country, but look, if we're going to talk about our forefathers, follow their example before coming to the States, stop off the Mediterranean coast, enslave some white people. Okay, over 1 million. We know you did that. We've heard of the Moors.
Barbary.
Let the cards fall where they may. So what are the primary complaints you see from these illegal aliens? Well, that there are no visas, and also there's only access to temporary shelters in comparison with the luxury hotels that were being used.
Right. Yeah.
They want permanent shelters?
Yeah, here's someone.
I could use one too.
Yes, exactly. Someone here says 30 days isn't enough. What I expected to have was help from the American people, and I don't see it. Shut up. Shut up. 30 days isn't enough. 30 days is plenty, considering that the Irish, the Italians came here and they had no days.
Zero.
0 days. They were starving from the potato famine. They had sores all over their face, scurvy and shit.
Italians beating them up.
30 days. And then the Irish beating up the Italians. My point is, they all got their licks in. 30 days isn't enough. How many times have you ever been a broke college student or just making your way in the world and you go, oh my gosh, I have an extra 2 days. I might be able to take that's 30 days is an eternity. Hey, New York City, where right now it's hard to fill unskilled positions. And they pay a great deal in a lot of these places if you want to work at wherever it is, McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, a diner. Anywhere.
Yeah.
30 days isn't enough to say, I will work, I'll take any job you have, live in Queens, take a train in, just like people who make $250,000 a year in that cesspool where dreams go to die have to as well, and then prove that you're looking for some kind of a place to live. Grab a few roommates. 30 days is plenty. What do you want, 90? Do you want a quarter? I thought you were fleeing a country that had nothing to provide. Come here. Hey, here's the big difference, guys. When people say the Statue of Liberty, yep, I understand. People were coming here to take a risk. There was skin in the game. Yeah. They were leaving everything they knew, by the way, including some form of economic security, but it came with the shackles of tyranny. It came with the shackles of state control. And they said, you know what? I'm willing to give all of this up for a chance at freedom, and I'm going to do it without a net. That's a huge difference from coming here and saying 30 days of free food and shelter is not enough. I thought you were going to help us, but apparently I was wrong. Leave.
Free food and shelter, by the way, in the most expensive city in the country.
I was about to say, you know what 30 days worth of room and board costs in New York on average? That is a lot.
I'm sure Marriott knows.
Temporary shelters. Yes! You're an illegal immigrant and you're shocked that it's a temporary shelter? How about no shelter? How about that?
Here's a tent. Go to Central Park.
Here's the tent from Congo. Throw it up. It's like a Frisbee. It lands like a tent. Isn't that cool?
Doesn't work.
Go to work.
Doesn't work.
30 days, not enough. We want better than these shelters, which prompted some city council members to suggest the recently opened Ritz-Carlos. No work conducted on the premises.
Always with the head on the turtle thing. I mean, at some point you have to have a different game.
No.
No?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Thankfully, though, for everyone involved, Mayor Eric Adams, I threw up in my mouth a little, decided that these illegal immigrants, for him, potential future voting base, that they absolutely deserve. Let's break down that word afterwards. Deserve more free money. And by that, I mean your dollars.
A story you will only see on Pix 11. New York City moving ahead with a plan to give migrants debit cards loaded with cash to buy food and baby supplies. And we have first look at how the
everyone's buying baby supplies. All these military-aged men.
Here at the Roosevelt, 2 newly arrived families, and once this ramps up by next
they
week
had to find
or
the
so,
2 families.
There'll be about
the only 2 families.
115. That's 115.
I didn't see any
cards in
families in
circulation,
that first
serving
clip.
about 460 migrants. That includes a
Watch
lot
this.
of young
He's
children.
going to show us real quickly what cards look like.
We did obtain some images of what these cards.
Oh, we
will look
obtained
like.
secret
You can,
images, Don.
See them on your screen there. They'll be loaded weekly with about $350.
MasterCard's
for a
just
family of
dying
4
over
with
this.
2 young children under the age of 5.
That's reporting.
It's not even platinum. I was hoping for American Express Black.
Where are my points?
It's a debit card. It messes up my Apple Pay. Shut up. Go ahead.
Not a rewards card.
Racist. Cold. Hit me. Do it. Don't care anymore. Don't care. Why? Because I'm not even going to get into crime, by the way. And I know they'll say, hold on a second. Actually, immigrants commit crimes at a lower rate. Already debunked that one. You're talking about all legal immigrants, which, of course, if they're on the books, they would want to be following the laws here. Illegal immigrants commit crime at a disproportionate rate. Just look at our incarceration numbers here in our prisons in the United States, as well as the stats that we have available to us. But no one actually wants to study that. So let's also keep in mind, one murder committed by someone who shouldn't have been here. It's the government's job to ensure that they are not here. Stings a little bit more than manslaughter with a car accident. So let's just put that aside. Here's why. Costs you $150 billion a year, the U.S. taxpayer. You might need to admonish me. Earlier I said 7.5, but the number's gone up. That's enough for 13 border walls.
What?
They don't want to solve this problem.
I would like to see 13 border walls.
It'd be pretty
Are
fun.
they stacked on top, or are they side by side?
You could make the walls like a maze, like the Squid Game.
Yes, I like that. Enter at your own peril.
Yes. Have a bunch of Koreans to confuse the hell out of them.
13 walls. That's a bad luck omen, too.
13 walls. And people say, well, a wall wouldn't fix the problem. They'll do that. Really? Okay, a wall wouldn't fix the problem.
Well,
it's a start. Let's just build one. Now you still have 12 border wall budgets for anything else. But I suggest saltwater crocodiles.
It's like my kid when he doesn't want broccoli. It's like, well, you haven't tried it.
Right.
Put some butter on it.
Yeah.
By the way, we also have
butter up that wall, too. They'll slip off.
Yes, it will.
Same concept.
That thing should be dripping with Crisco, shouting red rum like it's The Shining.
We have walls in other places that do work. We know walls work. Stop.
Yes, they do.
They just work.
Were you about to say something?
No, that's what I was going to say.
Oh, okay.
That was my
Like at
point.
prisons and
Also,
prisons.
I have debit cards over here, just in case you don't know what they look like. I'm sorry. When I see reporting where they're like exclusive on New York Pix 11, whatever the hell that is, you're not going to see this anywhere else. Don, yes, it appears that they are debit cards. It says DEBIT, and it's from MasterCard.
Time is valuable.
I have a scooter to steal.
Yes. Line, put it away. Bird or higher. I don't even know if they're still the scooter brands. I don't care.
So. Yeah. Hopefully they're all dead.
The homeless population,
Not
by
the
the way.
people, the scooters.
The scooters. Yeah. No, I understand that you tried to save yourself. The homeless population in New York City, by the way, is about 92,000 people.
Jeez.
Just to give you an idea.
City.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the homeless? No, no.
City? Yeah.
No, we need to. Let's bring in. Let's add to the homeless problem, and let's fund it through your taxpayer dollars. This is all about when you look at what they're doing with gun control. When you look at what they're doing with social media, with January 6th, they want to turn law-abiding citizens, patriots, into criminals, and actual criminals into a whole new voting base. That is what is going on in this country. When they say, the wall won't fix this, this is not a problem that the left wants to fix. They absolutely are orchestrating it. They want it to be exacerbated. And anyone who denies that is taking part in an agreed-upon lie. It's 2024, April 17th. No one today can believe that this is an unsolvable problem or that the DNC has any interest in curbing illegal immigration. None whatsoever. It's done. You have no argument.
No.
Bye-bye. Also, by the way, even in and here's what they do is they punish you.
Yeah.
North Carolina, 16-year-old high school student was suspended for using the word illegal alien.
The grammatically correct term.
The grammatically correct term.
You should have heard the words they were saying in my high school.
Yeah,
Yes.
kidding.
In Arizona.
Dumb.
Stop.
It's high school. My point is, you're lucky if they're using the grammatically correct term.
No, your head's going to end up on a turtle. Something like that happens.
Exactly. Take the win. So the incident happened when the student asked for clarification on an English assignment and said, like, space aliens or illegal aliens without green cards. Now, I don't know the context. Probably was being a smartass. Here's the thing. Well played. Pretty funny.
Yeah. It's a typical high school joke.
Yes.
It's amateur hour, but you're a teenager.
Yes.
You're learning how to make jokes.
Afterwards,
Wordplay. Nailed it.
Yes. Afterwards, this teenager immediately spelled boobs upside down on a graphic calculator.
They still have.
Yes. Or it read Virginia as vagina. We get it.
Exactly.
You're a funny kid.
Yep. If you're feeling particularly creative, you might spell out boob less.
I didn't know you could do that.
You could do that. Yeah. You could
They
do
never
it.
called me that.
Equation
No.
for it.
That's
You can do that. 7355. I didn't know.
So what happened is the school officials, whoever they are, they said that the question it was offensive to Hispanics, and they suspended this young man for 3 days, citing racism.
3 days for race? That's what you get for racism? 3 day suspension?
Is it a standard sentence?
Okay. Well, then I think that kid is entitled to go a little further.
Yeah.
No kidding. Look, if you're gonna
If they
send
really
me
were
home-
racist, which they're not, obviously.
Is it like?
That's how you teach them.
Does it get shortened for good behavior? Do you go in and I don't?
Yeah, if you go wash the feet of a Mexican kid, do you get in-school suspension? What happens then?
What if I play Pokemon or racial slur? What do I get for that?
Well, you get the show. That's pretty much what we.
That's a
come up.
reward.
Hey.
We'll also be playing Bad
Only
Movie
on
Lines
Mug
later.
Club.
But this story specifically, in contrast with what's going on in New York City and across this country, costing you $150 billion a year, you, the taxpayer, contributor, future criminal, we found this story almost too absurd to be true. So actually, Ginger Snap here reached out to the mother, Leah McKee, who spoke to us earlier today exclusively.
From what I took from you is, or from what I'm understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the student that could have taken offense wasn't really the one that was offended, but it was the administration.
So Tuesday morning in English class, Christian's teacher was signing vocabulary words. One of the words was alien. Christian raised his hand and was called on by the teacher, and he said, like, space or aliens that need green cards. A student in the class turned around and said, I'm going to kick your you-know-what. The assistant principal pulled both boys into the hallway. Both students said that they were the violent student that said he was joking. Christian said, I did not direct it at anyone. I was asking our teacher. When lunch was over, the assistant principal came and removed the Hispanic kid from class, took him to his office, and said, are you sure you didn't take this as offensive? Are you sure you didn't think that it was racially motivated? That led us to believe that he is the one that insinuated racism.
So why do you think the administration chose to make such a big deal out of something that really nobody actually took offense to?
That is the million-dollar question. We cannot, for the life of us, figure out why this has spun out of control in the way that it has. So that's why we're so grateful for people like you providing a platform. I feel is the only way that we are going to get this word out, and we are praying that this will result in a reversal of his suspension and an excuse the 3 absences he has as a result of that.
Couple of things. I can guess it probably, if they're trying to accuse you of racism, this is through no fault of your own. Doesn't help if your dad looks like Andrew Huberman.
It's true.
And it's just a good-looking family. So let me get this straight. Not directed at a student asking a question about illegal aliens, gets threatened with violence and that kid is, hey, I don't know if you know, how about we teach kids too? We used to teach kids, it doesn't, sticks and stones, doesn't matter if someone says something you don't like. You can't get violent because we live in a civilized society.
Yeah.
How about, is that lesson no longer?
Did you address the threat?
They want the white kids to be afraid. They want them to be afraid of violent repercussions that will go unpunished, and they want them to be afraid of administrative repercussions.
Yep.
They'll be not addressed.
Think about it this way. Hold on. Let me just play this back a little bit. If you threaten to kick somebody's butt,
that's okay,
right?
Yeah.
In class, where everybody can hear it, including the teacher. It doesn't matter the offense. You're going to the principal's office in every school that I've ever been in, right? And that seems like what should have been happening here. Like, hey, this guy threatened me. I was just asking a clarifying question to my teacher. But because it's one of these sensitive issues, oh no, we can't be accused of being racist. We've got to be careful. This guy made a threat. Nah, we're going to let that one go because we don't really care so much about that as we just want to make sure this guy's feelings aren't hurt.
Right.
Whoever this Hispanic kid is. And look, I'm not going to try to vilify this kid because maybe in a moment he was just pissed off. Whatever, fine, I get it.
Sure.
I'm vilifying the principal and the administration who 100%. Are going along with all of this.
Yeah.
And causing this situation in the first place.
Now, take that, scale it to the country.
Yeah.
You're the taxpayer, and the person who is suckling off of the teat that you pay for gets to accuse you of racism because a temporary shelter is only provided for 30 days.
Yeah.
That's the country the left sees. You will no longer have a country. And I know you thought that I was joking about saltwater crocodiles. I am not. Australia's border force has allegedly, but I really hope it's not allegedly. I hope that it's factually. They've deployed saltwater crocodiles to deter illegal border crossing activity.
Deployed like they're a
yes.
unit?
Yeah, they've deployed them.
Salute and march, boys.
I can see them on the helicopter now waiting to jump out.
You think that's a border wall? This here is a border wall. Deploy crocodiles.
Donald Trump's like, I called it! I told you we needed a boat!
Sending the crocs.
No, you said gators.
Gators. Wrong.
Gators are nothing compared to crocs.
Our crocodile unit is better than any crocodile unit in the whole world.
It's the only crocodile unit, but the principle remains.
It is the best.
It's not bad. Look, it'll take a bite out of you. Isn't that right? Don't come here. Plus, we're all rapists and murderers here in Australia, so, stay home. So, it does make you wonder which unconventional methods the United States could use, if we get creative, to deter illegal aliens at the border.
Stephen, if I may.
By all means.
The hippopotamus, or shortened to hippo, is a large semi-aquatic mammal native to sub-Saharan Africa. I'm suggesting we bring these hippos, or hippopotamuses, or hippopotamis. I'm suggesting we bring these hippopotamies from sub-Saharan Africa to the southern United States to help us with our recent influx in illegal immigration. Non-documented immigration. Now imagine, if you will, the immigrants are like marbles, and the hippopotamies, or hippos, are like, hippos, and they're hungry. Of course they're hungry. They're even double hungry because they came all the way here from Africa, so they must be double hungry. That's hungry hippos right there. And what do we have on the southern border but a bunch of delicious, tasty, spicy food for these hippos to eat? So they're eating, they're munching, they're chomping, they're getting them. Look at that. Wow, look at them go. Wow, they're really hungry. Man, that yellow one is really making a go of it. Little Chinese guy can't get caught. Look at him. Oh, almost got him. Up, up.
Can't thank you enough, Josh.
Yeah, of course I do. Someone's got to do this hard work, and I did all my research.
No, wait, I just did. I just thanked you enough.
Yeah, well.
The appropriate level of thanks. They'll mess you up, man.
Yeah, they will.
They're no joke.
Why are you guys stopping hippopotamus? You can pronounce the whole thing.
Hippopotami.
Hip-hop.
Are they? How do you say it? Hippopotami?
Hippopotami.
Hippopotamusin?
Hippos.
Hippopotamus.
That makes it easier.
What a fun game, Hungry Hippos. Did you play that before?
Sure. I did play it. It is. It's a fun game.
You played the
my
racist
family
version,
It's
though.
a game where a guy with Down syndrome can win.
Yeah.
Every game.
Yes. Ages whatever chromosome and up.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I don't know if I'm
24. I don't know.
I'm not a geneticist. So, Let's move on with. Oh gosh, we're gonna go overtime today. It's just part of what's happening today. You can comment below. You hit the like, download the Rumble app, whatever the hell it is that you got to do.
Yes, please download the Rumble app.
Download the Rumble app.
The hell
it's
you
the
have
best.
Share the show.
Yeah, share the show. Comment. It helps the algorithm. If
Go
you're
break
okay
a
with
plate, whatever you have to do.
Yeah, if you're okay with us
frickin' be here.
going long. I mean, Josh can't. These little miniature notepads aren't going to buy themselves.
You know what?
Don't do that.
Whoa. You're going in the book?
He's been doing it all day.
You're going in the notepad. It's not
I know.
a book.
He's been doing it all day.
Technically.
I don't know when it's going to come
taken.
back. I have nightmares that just walls of Josh's notepads.
Did you use our office budget for those?
No, this is a personal notepad.
Yep. He did use the office budget.
He did.
I stole it from the office.
Yeah, it's okay. So Trevor Bauer, I don't know if you remember this. Let's set this up for you because I say this does tie, like sometimes you do step back and you go, oh my God, I can't believe we're here. We're just talking about the illegal alien issue. And now we also have a culture where people's lives, their livelihoods can be destroyed and taken from them simply through lies. I was just watching, I mean, it was not that long ago. Patriot was one, Braveheart. Like you watch these films and you go, oh my God. I remember saying to myself, imagine that moment when they're running into battle, right? Yeah. And they're stabbing each other. And then afterwards, the relief. I'm going, I don't think that we will ever feel that relief of surviving. And then you realize it's just a digital version of that today, or an office version of that. They were fighting over land. What were they fighting over? They were fighting over the ability to provide for their family, to feed their family. Back then, you needed tracts of land. That was what was most valuable. Today, how do you make a living? Well, you typically don't. There are some farmers out there. You maybe work in an office. Maybe you run a small business. Maybe you make your living online. Maybe you make your living as an athlete. That brings us here to Trevor Bauer. People have fought to the death over less, just to be clear. Just change plot of land where you grow your crops or some acreage where you hunt. Change that to how you make your living today, to how you feed your family today. And it can be taken from you. And it happens all the time. And so rarely do people put up a fight. People who survive that, I think it's actually comparable. Sure, you're not getting run through with a blade, but you know what? You are dodging a bullet. So how many times have you heard this story as we get into Trevor Bauer? Yeah, see a man falsely accused of sexual assault, harassment, abuse, naughty words, whatever the hell it is. Pattern usually goes like this. Man gets accused of wrongdoing. Man gets dragged into public. He loses his job, reputation, ability to provide a living. He loses his livelihood. Then facts come out that irrefutably show the man was innocent, and the man still has no job. And the accuser gets to live on like nothing really happened because they're not in the public eye anymore. So that brings us here to Trevor Bauer. And I'm not even a baseball guy. Don't know him. It's after Johnny. This is something that stood out to all of us in the post-Me Too era because it's the most egregious, right? This was a guy who was a baseball player, and he faced 4 charges of sexual assault. Now, the reason that's important is because this is, just so you know, this is a tactic that you will see from these people. They'll throw out 1, 2, 3, 4 so that you, living in a sane world, you go, where there's smoke, there's fire, only they can all be entirely fabricated. Felonious, as a matter of fact, by classification. And that's what we see here with Trevor Bauer. But this is a tactic that they use. We want to go after this. We're going to make sure that he loses his reputation, his livelihood, shake him down for cash. So 2 Ohio women accused Mr. Bauer of sexual assault. They never filed any suits, to be clear. You know about it. It didn't go through the courts. One of them, a California woman, this was, I think the one we covered a while back, was Lindsay Hill, attempted to defraud Bauer by knowingly falsely accusing him of sexual assault. Why do I say that? Because she said that he choked and punched her, right? She said that he choked, and the picture that you saw in the New York Post, or wherever it was, Variety, Rolling Stone, was choke marks, right? Bruises on her neck and on her eye. Her lawyer, Brian Friedman, at that point in time, they had the pictures on her phone. She had a video, which we showed you, of her smiling to the camera the morning after sleeping with him, which she bragged about to her friends, saying she was going to sleep with him to try and get his money, winking at the camera, no bruises, no choke marks. That was the morning of the day, or within 48 hours, that she took those photographs where the bruises magically appeared. This evidence was not handed over. I believe that she actually lost the suit and has to pay his legal fees, but hey, what's the difference? He lost about a $100 million contract. Yep. She's just another nameless floozy who took a swing and a miss. Again,
which is surprisingly what Trevor Bauer makes people do all the time.
Yes.
It's called a whiff. Wow. He set a UCLA record for whiffs.
Right. And you know what? You can do everything right, be a great player, and if someone decides, nope, today we're going after you, you can lose it all. You think it won't happen to you? Guess what? It can happen to anyone. And, of course, you have a legal system that encourages it. You have people out there who make money just shaking people down.
Absolutely. And the other ones, these women accusing him, like you said, they never filed charges. Trevor addresses it in his video that he's going to release, and we're talking about that in a second. They never came forward and did anything. This was just that whole smoke fire thing that you were talking about. There's more women accusing him. He must have done something wrong. He must have at some point crossed the line. And so Major League Baseball, instead of standing up for Trevor Bauer, even when he was found to be completely innocent of this and set up, the text messages from Lindsay were way over the top. I'm going to get that bag. I'm going to go after the money. We covered this on the show in depth. MLB walked away. The Dodgers walked away. Both of these institutions walked away from an innocent man because it's easier to do that than to have the Karens screeching at the door for some fake story that never gets corrected in the media. That is the playbook. A familiar one, unfortunately, but that is the playbook that you see so many people going to today because they know all they have to do is try to ruin you in the public. That's it. Doesn't have to be true. Doesn't have to be based on facts. Brian Friedman obviously doesn't deal in a lot of those, unfortunately, in this case, specifically. Right. He had those images first and still went out to the public media to try to squeeze Trevor Bauer for money.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And by the way, same playbook they try and use against Donald Trump. Let's just add it up, E.G. and Carol. Let's just add it up. Stormy Daniels, who said the affair didn't happen, but then wanted some money.
Wrote a letter and signed it.
Yeah, wrote a letter and signed it. Let's get rid of the Biden. However, when it's Clinton, and there is a lineup.
Right.
There was a lineup that would, by the way, it would force them to open up a new checkout aisle if you were at the grocery store of women who were sexually assaulted. They can just selectively apply it. Oh, we're going to erase you. Don't know this guy. I just don't like to see it happen. You all knew about Johnny Depp because he was famous. It was in the public eye. Right. A lot of you don't know about this case, and we'll bring up some other cases too where this happened. This is the playbook that they use. So when you see a concerted attack on someone, I just ask that you go, wait a second. Is Trevor Bauer for women where there's smoke, there's fire, or just click one or two clicks deeper?
Yeah, give it some more thought because a lot of these people don't know baseball. They don't know the world that he's in. Yeah, and they have no idea. They just go, "Oh, it's not that big of a deal. He can't get a job. He probably wasn't that good anyway." No, he's one of the best pitchers in the world.
Right,
top 20 probably.
Yeah. Also has committed no rape or physical assault. So that's a plus.
Been proven.
Yeah.
Been proven that he hasn't.
You can't say that about every other player because they didn't have to prove it. And a lot of them probably do take a swat every now and then. They're following the school of
Also,
Sean
not
Connery.
a problem in the NFL.
No, not a problem at all.
I was about to say Ray Rice came back after knocking his girlfriend out, right? And dragging her onto the elevator. We had footage of that.
Yeah.
That was fine.
Did he come back? I don't follow
I'm pretty
football.
sure he came back for a little while at least.
Michael Vick has a career after electrocuting dogs.
Hey, he served his time.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he served his.
I'm a fan of Michael Vick. He served his time.
Okay, all right.
But the
fine.
Cleveland Browns wouldn't take him back, the dog pound with the dogs and stuff.
I can imagine. I don't know. I don't understand the reference, but I'm sure it's a good one. So, yesterday, Trevor Bauer announced that that some other accusers, there's one who's from Arizona, a woman named Darcy Adana Esmanu. Esmamani, she says, is now facing.
It's a
my money. So this person is now facing, one of the accusers, criminal charges.
One of the women who accused me of sexual assault just got indicted for committing felony fraud against me. Imagine that. Let me catch up to speed. In the last 3 years, 2 women have taken legal action against me. Lindsay Hill started all of this. You may remember her from this video as the girl who set me up and lied to
There's
the
a
world
video of her
in an
that
attempt
morning.
to take
No
my
bruises.
money. Well, today, the only other one, Darcy Adana Esamonu, has been criminally indicted for committing felony fraud against me and another man. So now she's facing up to 16 years in prison.
Now, I understand that's a video from him, okay? This is according to the Maricopa County indictment of this woman. It says that she knowingly did obtain a benefit from Trevor Anthony Bauer by means of fraudulent pretenses, representation, promises, or material omissions, knowingly did obtain or sought to obtain property or services by means of a threat in the future to expose a secret or an asserted fact in a social media message or in any other manner. Here is him describing, hey, you think where there's smoke, there's fire? Wait a second. The facts are coming out. Here's Bauer describing exactly what happened with her.
We had one plain sexual encounter in December of 2020. Nothing that could be considered remotely rough. She initiated it, but don't take my word for it. Take hers.
Disappointing.
This is a picture and text message she sent me the next morning explaining why she came on to me. And for months afterwards, she repeatedly requested to sleep with me again. For example, this text from January 7th, 2021. At one point, she even requested a sample of my sperm so she could have my child whenever she wanted to in the future.
Yeah, no
Now,
kidding, right?
It's hard to keep track, but she's made at least 4 7-figure demands over the last few years. More than a year after the one time we slept together, and only after Lindsay Hill made up her false allegations, Adana retained a lawyer. She then demanded $3.6 million and claimed I forced her to have an abortion, leaving her emotionally devastated and irretrievably damaged by it.
Oh, she's dead.
But here's the thing. She never had an abortion because she was never even pregnant, and that's corroborated by her own medical records. When I refused to pay her the $3.6 million she was asking for, she made up a bogus sexual assault claim and filed a civil suit against me.
So, a couple of things here. Let's get rid of the male-female thing, like as though this is a red pill or black pill issue. Women, please, do you have a father? Do you have a brother? Do you have sons? Do you see what they're facing in the world? Just like all men, decent men, aside from a very small percentage who are criminals, they hate rape. They want to kill rapists. They want to protect the women in their lives. The vast majority of men, let's say that. We've all been in groups of friends with men all the time. Not once has a man said, hey guys, when are we going to get to raping? Because they know we'd kick their ass. So I just ask that women start policing your own if you have any men in your life who you want to protect. Because guess what? Men can't do it because we've been told that we can't understand if we have a penis. This lady's story was so bogus, she was fired not by 1, but by 2 law firms.
Well, that's bad.
We now have emails between her and the first 2 law firms that dropped her, in which they acknowledge they never had any evidence to support her claims.
Happens
but
a lot.
they'll try to get my money anyway. I then shared an audio recording I have in which Adana contradicts her own claims and asks me for money. In the emails, her lawyers agreed that that's insurmountable evidence, and they inform Adana that they can no longer represent her unless she can provide documentation or proof of her claims. And of course, she couldn't do that, so the law firm urged her to consult other law firms with different standards.
You know, unethical ones.
Yes, exactly.
You know, scumbags.
Yes.
I know of one associated with the case.
Yes.
Like, here's the bathroom troll lawyer.
Yes.
I went back to that, sorry.
By the way, we actually have obtained, of course, this is going to be a big story. It's not yet a teaser or a sneak peek from the upcoming Trevor Bauer biopic titled Liar, Whore, Thief.
Whore! Liar! Thief! Yes! Yes! Don't you see? Yes! Don't you see?
I think she sees.
I think she does. She said yes twice before that, sir.
I think that's a bit on the nose.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too.
Where do they go from there?
By the way, don't you,
they got married right after that.
I would imagine something happens. It's like sexy. I don't know the film, but probably like liar. Yes, yes. But come here.
I love a lying thief.
Yeah.
I can't help myself. Rips off the buttons to his shirt that he has to walk to the subway stop after with his shirt flying open.
Yeah, and then she sends an email, and then she asks for money.
Yeah, it happens all again. You just get drawn back in.
I know. So
bringing me back.
Bauer also addresses the other accusers. He goes on to do that in the clip. But remember, where there's smoke, there's fire. If it's 1, 2, 3, or 4, some of them must have a claim, right?
And just so no one can say, well, he still has 2 other accusers. Just because the first 2 are complete frauds doesn't mean the others are. Here's a couple facts about them. They both had lawyers first demand in excess of $3 million to not go public. In both cases, only after I refused to pay any sum of money did their lawyers make anonymous claims in the media. They both had the opportunity to file a criminal complaint against me. Neither of them did. They both had the opportunity to file a civil suit against me. Neither of them did. They both had the opportunity to participate in Lindsay Hill's civil suit against me. They could have even done so anonymously. They both refused. One of them even submitted a statement to the court stating that she never made public accusations against me. The other refused to participate so vehemently that Lindsay Hill took legal action against her, trying to force her to participate. She still refused. So they both had the opportunity to testify under penalty of perjury. Neither of them did. One can only wonder why.
And the issue here, it's not just about Trevor Bauer. This is just a very seldom do you get a case that is so irrefutable. That's why it's important. But it does happen pretty often. We know this working, unfortunately, in the entertainment industry. Yeah. We have friends who have had this happen. For crying out loud, there are people right now, there are A-list actors, actresses, who have had private pictures stolen from their house and then were extorted with it.
Yeah.
And you'll never know the name of the person who extorted them. Happens when someone tells you that they're shaking you down, believe them. And if this were an isolated incident, okay, it's not. As a matter of fact, it's not an exception to the rule. It's generally, in the 21st damn century, the rule. Let's go through another couple of famous cases. Remember Mattress Girl? Mattress Girl, it was Emma Solkowitz, went around all over the media, right? Front page, New York Times, carrying a mattress like it was her cross. Well, turns out that she accused this guy, Paul, I think it was like Nungesser was his name, raping her after they had a falling out. He missed his graduation. He was exonerated afterwards, but he missed his graduation. Parents never got to see him graduate at Columbia.
Jeez. What a
she
nice
texted
broad.
him. Yeah. She was texting him asking for incredibly explicit sex acts. And he's like, ha, 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 maybe not. Talk to you later, TTYL. And she's like, oh, no, I'm going to accuse you of rape and carry a mattress on my back for the rest of the year to destroy your life. Remember Duke Lacrosse? That was a big one. They were accused of raping a stripper at a party. Nope. Wasn't true. Another one, Sean Oakman Baylor, right? Sean Oakman, at Baylor. Baylor, I was saying Sean Oakman Baylor because that's how I wrote it down. Sean Oakman at Baylor was accused of rape right before you were telling me the 2016 draft.
NFL draft, and basically he lost his career because of this. And by the way, going back to Duke Lacrosse, they were the number one team in the country. They were probably on track to win a national championship. And you may think lacrosse is silly, fine, but they didn't. They worked their entire lives to be at the peak of their career, to be able to have that moment, and it was stolen from them by mostly the media,
right?
And a false accusation that was run with. They never get that back. This guy, Sean Oakman, never gets that back. You work your entire life for an NFL career.
10 years
never
gone.
Get it back.
Not guilty.
No.
Definitively. Didn't commit the crime. Not guilty. You don't get 10 years back. Like I've talked about. You go back and you watch those films, they're fighting over some acreage, plots of land. What do you think someone would do if they said, for 10 years, we will not allow you to yield anything on your own soil? Think people would start using
worth
bows
dying
and arrows?
for. Yeah. Well, and you're not only that, but your soil is guaranteed to produce millions of dollars worth of revenue for you over these next 10 years. Millions. And by the way, it's ruined after those 10 years because you can't go back.
Right.
You can't be somebody who misses the draft by 10 years and go back unless you're a quarterback, essentially. Right? You're done. Your life's work is over. Thank God there's one case that actually has a positive ending. Matt Araiza, the punt god, that punter that we were talking about on the show, and thank God people were talking about him, got accused of rape at a party that I don't even think he was at.
Gang rape at a party.
Gang. It's better if the accusation's gang rape because it sounds worse.
Sounds worse.
Right?
Well, it is worse.
He was a punter, I believe, for the Buffalo Bills. He got cut. They wouldn't bring him back. Again, sorry, we know that these things, they even had it from the DA saying this didn't happen, this girl's crazy. Finally, I think the Denver Broncos did bring him on this last year because people are finally waking up and saying, you know what, we can't continue to destroy guys' lives over lies. Somebody has to be brave, and I'm surprised it was the Denver Broncos.
Well, nobody's watching them, so.
Yeah, exactly. They're very desperate right now.
No, I'm just kidding. They have a lot of fans. But,
Chiefs? Oh, sorry. Chiefs.
Who owned the Chiefs?
Thank you for the correction.
So, here, this is, again, it goes back to the illegal immigrant issue. Don't be browbeaten into feeling guilty. It's like, oh, hold on a second. You just said this woman was crazy. Guess what? You will find, if right now you type in woman crazy pejorative, you will find front page in legacy media outlets all kinds of write-ups and op-eds about how crazy is this pejorative used to describe women, and it's a byproduct of patriarchy. Guess what? Don't care. The bullies are you. The bullies are you. You want us to believe that in 2024, the office place is a boys' club where we go around smoking cigars and bragging about raping women consequence-free, or is a more likely scenario that you realize if you get the right HR person on your side, you go and file a few complaints, you get a nice early retirement, or if you find a really rich athlete and God forbid, actually trick him into sending a sperm sample, which this woman actually asked for. That is certainly a red flag, and that term is overused. Demanding your sperm is a red flag. This is one of those issues where, do you really think the picture that's been painted, the cis white straight male in the workplace is bullying everyone? Okay, show me the examples here where women have had their reputations tarred, feathered, and destroyed for crimes that they did not commit, where the public has turned on them completely.
I'll Salem witch trials, but
well,
sorry. It just came to my head. I thought,
it's a fair point.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, though.
No, it's okay.
So it's different.
You know what? My point is, at a certain point in time, the scales have tipped.
Yeah, definitely.
I saw Lily Proctor.
Also, two things can be true. They may not have been witches, but they were bitches.
I did hear that all the other women were like,
science. It's the witches be
and the way they were dressing with the high skirts and the pointy hats. They were asking for it.
It was other women accusing the women of being witches.
Yes, exactly.
For the most part, it was like, I'm not a witch, that bitch is.
Yeah, she's a witch.
Look at her with her blonde hair. Who has blonde hair in this day and age?
So women were just throwing each other under the bus?
Yes.
Well,
That
off the
wasn't
cliff,
us, okay.
but yeah.
Women are the bus as it relates to this. This is the issue. Women are the bus right now. And women, please start policing your own with this. Do you have a son? Do you have a brother? Do you have an uncle? Do you have men in your life who are good men where you see this can be taken from? Just like men want to protect women from physical violence. Good men. If you're a good woman, you have to try and protect the men who matter in your life from the violence that they experience. What if you want to call it metaphysical violence, figurative? It's just as they lose their livelihood.
Everything.
If a good man, if you require of a good man, and I believe you should, women, if you require of a good man to protect women from the threat of physical violence, which, great, I agree. That's a part of a man's role. We accept it. You need to protect the men in your life from this, because this is the norm right now. This is the threat. This is why men are not getting married under the age of 30, up to 40%, depending on the stats that you use. None of this is good for society. All of it needs to go back to accountability and truth. Unfortunately, we have a clickbait culture where destroying someone's reputation, you know what people love more than a good celebrity story or a good athlete? Is a bad one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So everyone's ready to jump on, I don't even know the guy. Never heard of him before this story. I've just seen it one too many times, and we're about to go off a ledge unless you start policing your own. This guy, suspended from Major League Baseball, lost his contract by the Dodgers, and right now, this is what he has to do. He has to adapt, having committed no crimes whatsoever, having faced women who committed crimes against him, he has to relearn a whole new life to play in Mexico.
I recently signed a contract to play baseball for the Diablos Rojos, the most storied baseball franchise in Mexico. Apparently they thought it was a good idea to sign a guy straight off of YouTube. So in order to prove them right, and to represent the YouTuber community the proper way, I'll have to travel to a new country.
I forgot my passport on the plane.
Integrate into a new team.
I'm a part of it. All right.
Adjust to the altitude.
Altitude is kicking my ass
Bad for a
already.
pitcher.
Carefully navigate the media.
Would you still have the same
Ball carries further,
approach,
too.
Yep.
questioning Manfred's actions and other controversial takes?
No habla
Make sure the
español.
fan base doesn't reject me.
Fucking king of Juco, man.
And actually perform well.
Not ideal. Come on, Trevor. Figure it out.
And guys, you saw his ex profile in there. Go and show the guy some support. I don't know if he could be the biggest douchebag on the planet. I don't care.
That comment by the media where she was asking about Manfred, that's the commissioner of baseball. I think there's more to this. I don't know if he would admit to it or he has the conspiracy theory, but he came out in 2018 or 19 or whatever talking about how he liked pitchers should be able to use sticky stuff, and then the next year it was banned and outlawed, and no one can use it now. There's specific rules against it.
Okay.
It helps pitchers with accuracy, helps them with spin rate. I think it was good for baseball. I think that he would agree, and I think there's a little bit of a conspiracy there.
Really?
There's more going on?
Yeah, that's why he said carefully navigating the media, because she was asking she was directly asking that question. Manfred's, views on you and this and that. So.
But like you said, is he top 15 pitcher?
I would say, I don't know about top 15 because there's a lot of good. He's definitely top 20.
Definitely
the guy
top 20.
averages about 97 miles per hour. I think he hit 99 the other day.
Okay.
On one of his videos, he was one of the guys that like revolutionized spin rate, like scientifically looking at your spin rate, getting RPMs on the ball and how to increase it.
He's a great
and he's a great pitcher. He's a great. He had set records in college.
In a parallel universe,
he won a Cy Young Award in 2020.
Outside of the false accusations, this guy does not have to go and restart his life in Mexico.
No, he should. He should have one of the highest contracts in the MLB, and right now he's, for lack of better words, begging to play at league minimum.
Can somebody tell us what they pay him to play in Mexico? By the way, this isn't the first foreign country. He played in Japan as well. Right? Just looking for a gig. And I think even for his first start there, he had 3 scoreless innings against the Yankees.
Yeah.
They played kind of an exhibition game for the Mexico team playing against the Yankees.
It's like 2 months ago.
Scoreless innings.
Hey, Major League Baseball, are there any teams out there, any people who run these teams where you can stop being morons, cowards at this point, sign the guy? You want to improve your team?
Who's the worst team, Josh? Mets?
No. I don't even know right now.
I mean, worst team. Whoever you are out there, you know who you are.
Oakland A's, obviously.
Oakland A's.
Oakland A's.
You don't even have a stadium.
He would still be playing in a AAA stadium, but I mean, he'd be playing the big leagues, and
there you go.
He'd be. I mean, no one. Oh, that's a
Moneyball.
great point because nobody wants to go play in Oakland right now.
No.
Because they're moving to Sacramento for 3 years next year.
Yeah.
They're not going to have a pro clubhouse.
See?
Nobody wants to play there in Oakland. Or sorry, Sacramento / soon to be Vegas. Sign him.
And by the way, if you guys aren't nutless cowards, guess what? This can now at this point with the vindication, it's a victory. It's a redemption story. This is something that people will come out in droves to support a guy like this because everyone at this point, no one is untouched from this epidemic of false accusations out there. So Major League Baseball, I don't know if it's the Oakland A's.
Yes,
I don't know if the Expos are a thing. When I was in Montreal, they stopped it because their stadium was literally, the roof was caving in. Major League, anyone out there watching, look, you can send us a letter. I'm sure he has an agent, but my point is at this point, come on, guys, you have the evidence before you. Let's give this a redemption arc. Don't even know the guy. No clue. He deserves a spot at this point if he's good because he wouldn't have lost his spot if not for crimes committed against him. All right, let's move on. Speaking of crimes against humanity, not only, of course, we know the initial crime at Covenant School in Nashville, but I would say, okay, certainly immoral. I can't say criminal because I don't want to get sued by a lawyer, but I'm sure that there'll be a couple people who fire the client who tries to sue us. We have an update here. This is the Nashville Manifesto. None of this happens, by the way, without you. We have an update from George the Greek, who is on the ground there today at the trial where they will decide what happens with this manifesto, the remaining portions.
It's day 2 here in Nashville over the trial of the release of the Nashville Shooters Manifesto. We expect things to wrap up today with one final presentation from an attorney representing the parents, as well as a rebuttal from the petitioners who are seeking the release of the manifesto. Stay tuned as I break down everything that happened on day 1 and give you my thoughts as to what I think the judge is going to do on this case.
Most Greek guy I can imagine.
He is.
I can imagine more Greek.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
bigger, curlier, black
Like
hair.
Salt Bay, that guy? Is that
Yeah.
The way he talks, he's got the salt and pepper. His name is George.
I see it. Yeah, George is a very...
So he's been there yesterday. He's there today, and this is the trial. Just so you know, it's the public release of the remainder of the manifesto. And to be clear, that was one of the biggest stories that has taken place this last year. None of it happens without you. It's $89 annually if you go to louderwithcredit.com/mugclub. You can try going mugless for $9 a month, but right now we are running the promotional code Manifesto. You enter that and you get $20 off because we are working on some other investigative stories right now. And you know what? It takes a lot of time. And it takes a lot of leads being chased down, which you can also send to lwctips@protonmail.com. We'll gladly go to jail to protect our sources.
Yeah, click. And by the way, if you can't type in manifesto, you just click the link in the description. It automatically enters it for you.
Well, that's pretty cool.
We try to make it as easy as possible. Subscriber, you're gay. Let's continue.
All right. Well, I think people already. What'd you say?
What? I subscriber, you're gay. I just think it's.
Oh, okay.
It's self-explanatory.
That's what I thought you said. So we don't need to show the clip of us reading the manifesto. You guys have already seen this. It's been a pretty, I guess you could say, eventful or uneventful, but in some ways funny trial thus far because there have been a lot of technical difficulties, seemingly inept judge. And I don't say that because she's a woman or a person of color. I say it because she can't work a computer. And some seemingly cowardly lawyers afraid to answer any questions. It's time for our Mug Club exclusive. Technical difficulties, a highlight. Let's roll it.
It's a little warm in here. We are going to try to get that adjusted.
Looks a little hot in there to me.
What is that? Yeah. Okay, well, I'm told
terrible.
that sound is our cooling system not working. So I do apologize for that. Mr. Pierce, I am so sorry. If you would just bear with me one moment. I cannot get anything to open. Can you get a moment to come over here? I can't get anything to open. All right, we're going to take a bit of a pause because I cannot get anything to open.
So you're in the wrong. They're these fibers.
Is the judge setting up the stream?
All right. We're going to do a do-over.
Yes, that will erase the record.
What are we talking about today? Oh, a shooting. Crap.
You always like to think that it's a few good men. You know, one of those films where like, will you answer the question, sir? But really, it's just a bunch of people sitting there, not able to get their laptops to work, and some, lawyer who looks like he should be sweeping between Bullwinkle cartoons, like, oh boy, this isn't going well. Is it going well? No, it's not.
No, it's. Anybody know Linux?
So, Just to not to be outdone, remember this guy, Brent Leatherwood?
Yeah.
Brent Leatherwood.
Not a fan.
Sounds made up.
This was the person who claims to be a spokesperson to represent all of the parents. After we released this manifesto, You Made It Happen, Leatherwood accused this very program and outlet of being nothing more than an online shock jock, called us a viper and asked us, just this is Mr. Leatherwood, not a fan.
To the online shock jock who aired these images, I would challenge him and anyone who amplifies them online. Just be a human for once. Quit seeking clicks and retweets and platform building. And I would say specifically, any sort of profit or revenue that was generated by this, a naked display of platform building, any of that money should go directly to the 6 families. How many more people have to be killed in a senseless way so that you can get clicks? And lastly, I want to speak directly to the person who took these images and released them. You are a viper.
You are a bad fake crier.
You're a member of the law enforcement community. And you have released evidence that was gathered in our most vulnerable moment. You have now allowed
Arguable, most vulnerable.
this woman who terrorized our family with bullets to be able to now terrorize us with words from the grave.
Yeah. Well, the problem is if you don't actually look at the root cause and motivation, more people can terrorize you with bullets. I know you talk about naked platform building. I don't know if you know this. We didn't plan for the shooting to take place. As a matter of fact, our hearts were broken. We want fewer mass shootings to take place, which is why we actually suggest measures that would be tangibly productive. Instead, Mr. Leatherwood, you guys may not know this, like, why does he dislike us so much? You think, like, hey, he's president of the Southern Baptist Convention, right? Or their Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission, the Southern Baptist Convention, their convention's Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission. Okay, the point is, he used his platform.
Platform? He has a platform?
Yeah, he used his platform to push for what? Red flag laws, gun control.
Wow.
Well, but just to be clear, I don't want to put words in his mouth. He doesn't dislike the program, which would include us. I think he specifically just doesn't like you.
Well, that's get in line.
I would argue that might be true.
That's fair. That's fair.
I think he's just mad because his name's Leatherwood, which sounds like a nudist boner.
Yes, I think he's mad because he looks like a skinny James Corden.
Not a bad word.
Mm-hmm.
And he should carpool karaoke off a ledge, figuratively.
Yes.
Figuratively.
Like how big of a ledge?
Enough to give you pause.
I don't think you call those ledges, though. I think those are cliffs.
Yeah, cliffs. I wanted to soften the
maybe a
landing.
butte.
Mr.
Ledge up the
Leatherwood. So let's be clear. Hold on a second again. And we're the bullies. This guy goes out. He obviously stands to profit, to be clear.
Yes,
because he wants the money going to the families. I'm sure he might be representing some families.
He's doing it pro bono.
Yeah, I'm sure he's doing it pro bono. And of course, he has no agenda at play. Red flag laws, gun control. You can go check it out at change.org. This guy wants that narrative to continue. In case you've forgotten, that was the narrative before the bodies were even cold. It always is. And if there's any inconvenient information, well, they make sure to bury it and move on to the next shooting where they can push for gun control or they can push for red flag laws. That's why this guy is involved. He doesn't like different solutions being proposed, and he certainly doesn't want you to understand the motivations behind this shooting or to have access to more information, because guess what? The more you have access to information, the less you believe in the bullshit causes that he pushes. And he does this, by the way, the worst part is he does it as a Republican.
Yeah.
So he was actually the executive director of the Tennessee Republican Party. We couldn't find any record of him as a registered Republican in Tennessee, but we did find that he was previously registered as a Democrat in Florida. I don't know, just an interesting aside. It would be sort of congruent with pushing for red flag laws and more gun control. In other words, I know he said viper. Might I suggest that you're a snake? George the Greek caught up with him earlier today, Mr. Leatherwood, to ask him some questions, and he's a coward.
Mr. Leatherwood, can I get a comment on today's case?
No, thank you.
Why target the media companies that release this information, though?
I gave a comment upstairs.
No, I understand that, but I'd like to hear from you directly.
I gave it upstairs.
I understand. Why don't you repeat it to me? I'll happily walk with you and you can tell me.
No, that's okay, but thank you.
I mean, you referred to these media organizations as like pit vipers. Is that appropriate? I mean, why not let the public know the information that's critical and involves all of us? I mean, respectfully, I'd like to hear your perspective on this. Has it changed at all sitting in there?
We've made our comments. Thank you.
I understand. You can give me some more comments. I'd love it.
Thank you.
Tell us why people that release information are vipers and are not human. Is the media not withholding information, the people who are not being human? Isn't the shooter way more vile than the media? Mr. Leatherwood, any comment at all? Are you being paid at all to be the opposition here? Is anyone covering you? Any comment at all, Mr. Leatherwood? Is this a career move? What are we doing here? Please, let the public know. Thank you, guys. God bless you. There you have it. Unfortunately, we're not getting any response. It looks to be it's going to be ad hominem attacks. It's not going to be anything of substance. Who knows what the real motivations are? But what we're doing is bringing you the truth. Sometimes the truth hurts. We don't like it. We understand people get hurt. But it's in the public conscience. We must know what's happening here. And unfortunately, there is an apparatus designed to suppress all of this information that the public should know. What are the motivations behind it? We can only surmise. As you can see, we're not going to get any answers on this.
Want to bet? I think that we will do our best. It's time to go live with George the Greek. I love it. Just be human.
Right?
Will it hurt? It's
For once in your life, Stephen.
Yeah, just be human. Although guys like this, they only show up when they stand to profit. George the Greek, thank you for being here, sir. It looks like it's raining down there.
Good morning.
Okay, we're not
it was. I think we're good for now. Perfect timing.
Okay,
as
good.
usual.
What is it that that's been going on here? I know we saw the technical difficulties. Are there any updates today on the ground, or are we having an idea as to how things are looking? Are they going to be releasing the rest of this manifesto?
Right. So they're going to wrap up today, and I mean, ultimately, I've seen most of the case at this point, and I don't think they're going to release it. What the case is focusing on is this open public investigation from the police. They're claiming vis-a-vis an affidavit, hey, we're still investigating this case, and the judge seems very deferential to that. They're giving a projected end date of July 1st of this year for the investigation, and the judge is kind of like saying like, hey, if they're going to be done soon, why not just wait? She's afraid. She calls herself, she goes, I don't want to become the investigator and decide when it ends.
Right. So the police department is running an ongoing investigation. That's what they're claiming? Okay. Is this the same police department who...
Yeah, unfortunately, though, they're not charging anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
I was going to say, is this the same police department who soon after, or I don't remember if it was the mayor, soon after... actually said they didn't know if they could verify whether it was, in fact, the manifesto? I'm just questioning the investigative capabilities down there in Nashville.
Absolutely, it's the same one. And, unfortunately, the law, it would allow this, except, they should be actually charging somebody. They're not. Shooter's dead. Or contemplating charges. They've made no such indication. All they put in their affidavit is, during our ongoing investigation, maybe we'll find another accomplice. And based on that, the judge is going, well, I think maybe we'd be crossing the line if we decided that it should end. And I think that's a problem, because you're basically creating a loophole now where any time, for whatever political reasons, you want to suppress information, you could just say, well, open investigation, sorry. And I don't think that's helpful to anybody.
No, and certainly if we're talking about the issue of accomplices, right? We saw this in Chippewa Falls. wouldn't they be able to prove that they have either detained or contained, made the school safer if they're concerned about accomplices? Because if I'm a parent, I certainly would be concerned if someone had been influenced by this radical ideology and this person who killed 7 people, 6.
Absolutely correct. And I mean, who's to check them when they make these claims? Obviously, it must be a court. This would be that court. And to just be so deferential on something like this, I feel is a mistake. But I think that's the way the judge is leaning. Let's not forget that the FBI uses these manifestos to train local police on what to look for. They use them to basically diagnose these things and try to be proactive about them. And why wouldn't that also extend to the public doing the same analysis?
Yeah, that's a very good point. Did you have a question there, Mr. Cap Morgan?
Yeah, so my problem here, George, is that July 1st can always become August 1st, which can also become December 1st, which could become 2025, right? Because they can just continue to say that. So why doesn't the judge put a timeline on it and say, look, how long has it been since the shooting? It's over a year.
Right, certainly by July 1st, yeah.
How long do you need to be able to determine if there was any additional person? Like, I really, where is this being put on the priority list? Like, it's frustrating. So can the judge put a date on it, a date certain, and also satisfy that kind of, I don't want to become the investigator here, and say they can't just keep pushing it off into the future?
Absolutely. I think the judge can certainly do that. And if there's any question about a potential accomplice, that could be redacted. The motivation here is the primary thing we need to know. And there's no reason that those two things should be conflated. So even in the worst case scenario, show us a redacted version. Leave the motivation in. Leave the information the public needs to know.
So something else that stands out at me here, too, is Mr. Leatherwood, where he said, these parents have to relive it. Let this whatever he said, go by the wayside, let the issue die or something. Let them continue in peace. If there's an ongoing investigation, wouldn't they be on an ongoing basis interviewing, asking questions of the parents and those surrounding the investigation? Wouldn't that be far more invasive than someone releasing withheld information as to the motivation of the crime?
Absolutely correct. And this is where I think the argument really should fall apart. The whole thing seems to be pretextual. They just want to make an excuse to keep it and drag it out as long as possible, probably to get it out of the public eye. You know how fickle people are with the news and how quickly it comes and goes. Thankfully, though, we're still keeping the story alive. And, thanks to people like us and Mug Club, it's not going to go anywhere.
There's the Greek I know and love. Hey. All right, Georgie, thank you very much. Stay safe. We appreciate it. We'll check back in with him later. George the Greek, everybody. And, of course, if you're out there, you can join for $89 annually, or right now, actually, $20 Manifesto promo code.
We're not going to let this thing drop either. We're going to continue to keep the pressure on all of these guys to make sure that Manifesto gets out.
Well, because we see so often with the news, people will tell you, hey, look, we have it, and then they don't act like a dog on a bone, which is what you need to. People think they can ride it out because the public has a very short memory span. So we have to stay on it so that there's some kind of follow-up here, and the people who do this fear doing these same things in the future. Yeah. So LottoCredit.com/MugClub. I think it's $20, Manifesto.
Manifesto.
If you're watching, just click right there on Rumble.
Because don't be gay.
Stop it.
I didn't say
It's a great deal. $20 off, it's a great deal.
Zag.
Yes. Toolman, I have something in Spanish.
What?
On my, what's DeGero?
DeGero?
Oh.
Because I have George on my screen, and then it just went to black and says DeGero. Does anyone know what DeGero means?
That's our field unit that we were using.
Oh, okay. So I'm trying to talk, and I'm getting distracted because it's like DeGero, DeGero.
It's DiGiorno.
Oh, no.
Close.
It's delivery. Yeah. Almost tricked you. So on Buck Club, click that button, and we're about to play Bad Movie Lines. Trailer really quickly with a 1961 classic called Reptilicus? Reptilicus.
Yes. Oh, Reptilicus.
From all corners of the earth, they gather to study the mystifying frozen fossil, a reptilian tale that grows into a giant of terror.
It's alive! It's loose!
Reptilicus, a monstrous, massive beast whose astounding appearance causes panic.
Reptilicus approaching the city. Repeat, Reptilicus approaching the city.
This is Grayson. All units, fire at will.